watching these bloopers going on, and now we are live, folks, officially live, and we are here. This is Wrestling with Comedy. I am your host, the Real Deal Joel Davis, and we have tonight a very special guest coming in north of Boston, Massachusetts. Your friend and my friend. He is Nick Rossi. He's a stand-up comedian. He's also a sobriety speaker. He wants to give back. He is fighting the battle and winning the battle. He's a sober man. He's like they say, he's got his shit together. And we are so happy to have him tonight on the podcast, Wrestling with Comedy. Nick Rossi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Joel. Thank you for having me.
Right on, brother. It's good to have you here, and I know there's going to be a lot of listeners with questions and maybe some comments. Nick Rossi is here, and we just wanted to say real quickly, everything is settling down. If you're just tuning in, believe it or not, we had two different issues. 7 p.m. We're scheduled to go live. Nick, you know what I'm talking about. There was some severe weather up that way. Nick lives next to the Canadian border. And it was some rough weather that knocked us outline, and then we had a technical problem. But that is the past. This is the present. This is Wrestling with Comedy Podcast live stream. I am your host, the Real Deal Joel Davis, known as Comedian Joel Davis also. And Nick Rossi, let's just start it right up, brother. The people have been waiting for this podcast. Nick, now you're up that way. Where are you exactly living these days?
I am in Haverhill, Massachusetts.
Haverhill, Massachusetts. So that is up there. How far from Canada?
I think about 8 hours.
Right, okay.
Close enough to mess stuff up, you know.
That's right. There you go, bro. That's a good one. And Nick, a quick question for you, because we have some professional wrestling fans that also enjoy the podcast, and we also have, of course, comedian fans, people that like comedians and comedy. But are you any relation to Nick the Bandit Rossi, who was an IWF and ICW star in professional wrestling? Any relation to Bill the Bandit Rossi?
No. I wish I could say yes, because then I would feel much cooler for being related to someone involved in wrestling. But no, I've never even heard of him. Forgive me, but
okay. Well, rest in peace, Bill Rossi. So we get that question out of the way. Nick, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Massachusetts, or where are you from?
Yep. I was born and raised in Massachusetts. I grew up in the Merrimack Valley, so I was born in Methuen. Grew up in Lawrence for like my early childhood. Then I moved to North Andover, and that's where I went to middle school and high school. And then I moved around a bit in my 20s and ended up back in Haverhill in 2018. And I've been here since.
All right, brother. So you've done a little travel. You're from Massachusetts area, so you're a New Englander right from the start and the get-go. Nick, everybody wants to know, really, because this is a good question. A lot of people want to know, inspiring comedians or comedians now, today, or anyone that is a fan of comedy. What was your first upstart? What was your first show in stand-up comedy? What year was it, and the date, and where was it, and for who?
The first comic that I saw live?
No, your first show that you performed at. Open mic, whatever it was.
The first time I ever did stand up, I did an open mic in New York City in 2012. I was around 22 years old, and I moved out to New York just to write, not even with the intention of writing comedy. I'm like a writer at heart. I grew up being like that little emo goth kid writing poetry in high school with his black hair like this. So I always writing was the one thing that I felt secure in, and it was the one way I could express what was going on inside of me. So when I was 22, I'm like, I'm moving to New York. I'm just going to go get a job doing whatever and write and live life. And it was out there that I decided to do a stand-up open mic because throughout my life, even though there's a lot of like dark stuff going on and I was in a lot of dark places, I always had these little like bits of goofiness coming out of me, So I got to New York. I started using comedy, watching comedians to kind of get out of my funk that I was in. And I said, Nick, go try out an open mic. And I did. And I bombed. The comedy was very, I had a wall up. I was doing like really topical kind of safe comedy about like pop culture, about things that I really didn't care about. I don't think I was vulnerable or anything like that, which is something I want to see when I go watch someone do stand up. But it was still good. It still got me on the stage in front of people. And I took that experience and carried it all the way until last year when I was 35 years old. And I said to myself, like, I want to try stand up again. And I was still a student at UMass Lowell. I went back to school recently over the past few years to finish my degree. And I saw an advertisement for an improv class. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. During my work shift, I deliver packages for a living. I've been doing that for almost 6 years. I would just be like talking to myself, writing bits, singing musical parodies, like off the cuff. And I saw the advertisement for the improv class, and I said, maybe this is a place where I can channel this random energy that I have just coming out of nowhere. So I enrolled in the improv class. I met a few stand-up comics. Shout out to Julie Wesna if you're watching. And she was like, yeah, I do stand-up in Haverhill. And I'm like, no way, I live in Haverhill. Tell me about it. And she mentioned Funny Vibes, the comedy club, which is like 7 minutes from my house. And I had never heard of it. So I said, I'm going to do it. And I tried an open mic there about a year ago. And I've been trying to do stand up ever since.
So that was last year, 2025, around this time of the year.
Yes.
So you've been active about 1 year out in this area in Massachusetts. I mean, hey, listen, you started out in New York City on an open mic. That's no joke, so to speak, because, you went out there and you started out in the big city, and you came in. And I'll be honest, and I'm going to tell you, and if you know me, anybody knows me, any of the listeners know me, I don't throw no bullshit around. I keep it real at all costs. And I will say, I've seen you perform. You performed October 23rd of last year, October 23rd, 2025, at Morosco's Bar and Grill in Cranston, Rhode Island. You were one of the comedians that was on the Halloween theme show. It was Keeping It Real Comedy, right? And you were one of those comedians that were there with the host, Gigi Fall, and you had Archie and Edith Bunker was there. They were not really there. They weren't really there. They both passed away, but they were portrayed by Polish Paul Kwasonski and Kathy Kimmel, who played Edith, and Paul played Archie Bunker. Do you remember this? And then Doug
Absolutely.
V, Mr. V, was the werewolf. And you had Gigi Fall as the host, and Nick Rossi. You were on that show, and you killed it. And I actually headlined that show that night. Between the whole show, we really took the roof off, and the audience really liked you, Nick. You have a lot of talent. You're a very genuine person, and you really like I like to say, you brought it to the table for Keeping It Real Comedy. And I believe that being a comedian like you are, I'm sure it helps you in life, and what you're doing. And a lot of people, I'm sure out there listening right now, taking a look at some of my notes here, would love to know what you have for advice for people that are listening, Nick, that might want to get into comedy, and how can it help? And I know you are a sobriety speaker and you want to give back. And how long have you been sober?
First, I just want to say thank you, Joel, for booking me for that show in October, because that was my first paid show. That was a huge milestone for me, and you took a chance on me, so I'll never forget that. Thank you. But my sobriety, I'm about 5.5 years sober, by the grace of God. Never thought I'd say those words, man. But I'm there, and it's just life is just getting better and better. So gifts of sobriety just keep coming. Stand-up comedy is one of them. My advice to anyone out there that wants to get into stand-up comedy, just do it, and do not compare yourself to anybody else that you see on Instagram or on social media, on TV, anybody. Or just listen to your artistic voice, and if you have something that you're writing or that you go over and over again in your mind, or you have an idea, and if you get excited by it, and if you laugh by it, if you get goosebumps by it, and you say, man, I'm onto something, you go for it. Get on that stage. Well, let me back up. Write it down. Write down all your ideas, even if it's the craziest, stupidest thing in the world. Just write it down, and just talk to yourself, talk it out. Just really let these ideas marinate, and believe in them. Because you're going to walk in to do an open mic, and it's going to be the scariest thing in the world. And you're going to watch people before you do it, and they're going to get laughs. You're going to say, what if I don't get laughs? You know what? You walk in there, get on that stage. You walked in with a pulse. You're going to, no matter how the set goes, you're going to leave with a pulse. Unless somebody throws something at you in the audience and hits you, and then you're in trouble. But that won't happen. My point is, my advice to anyone out there, just go for it, and listen to that voice inside, because what I did is, I sometimes think I do things a little differently. Like in my comedy, I kind of get like vocal and performative. Some people don't like that because they say I should be more casual, but like that's my artistic style and voice. So like I have to just honor that, and keep hitting mics. I've been doing this a year. I still do shows where I bomb, and like that's just part of it. You have to get used to that, and just believe in yourself, write as much as you can, and face your fears, because every time you get up on that mic afraid and you make it through, you come out stronger, and you can do it again. The more you do it, the more you can keep doing it.
That's great advice, Nick, and I just wanted to ask you a question. I mean, we have so much we wanted to cover. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of technical difficulties here, so we're watching the time. Folks, we are still here for another few minutes. Don't go anywhere. If you have any questions for Nick, I'm sure Nick would be happy to answer the questions. We got quite a bit of comments here. We got an oh hell yeah. We have hi auntie. I don't know. I don't know if you know someone.
Yeah,
hi,
I
auntie.
said that to my aunt.
Okay. All good now, brother. Someone said to you, all good now, brother. Christian's wife said to say hi to you. And actually, Ryan O'Connor, the guitar, thank you. Real deal Joel Davis, baby, someone said. we appreciate all those comments. It's Nick Rossi's night tonight, and this guy is a class act from the word go. Like he had said, I gave him a shot, and that's what it comes down to, people. Sometimes people just need an opportunity, and a lot of times they don't get that opportunity. So remember that. If you can give somebody an opportunity, give them that opportunity, because, you may be really helping them out in life, because life is tough. Trust me when I tell you that. Nick, we have something during this podcast that we call dealing the names. I have 5 names for you, and I want to throw them at you. But before I throw those names at you, I'd like you to please, in some kind of detail, and just try to put it together very tight if you can, just because of time permitting. But can you let the people know a little bit about the struggles you had with alcoholism? I know you don't sugarcoat anything. So let the people know, and how does it feel to now be basically a sober man with his shit together, hitting the gym, holding down a good job, has a great place, you're making some great associates, you're getting a lot of respect. One of the people that respects you quite much is myself. I have a lot of respect for you, Nick. Can you please tell the listeners tonight on Wrestling with Comedy a little bit about the struggles and how it feels now that you have beat them? You beat the struggles. You have 5 years, and you're not looking back.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I got real quick. horribly traumatic childhood, and by the age of 14, I was doing drugs just to numb all the pain. 15 years old, I had a needle in my arm. Never thought I would say that, but that's what life became. I hated myself and just felt rejected. I was dealing with all this stuff, dealing with like sexual identity issues, like realizing that, I was attracted to men and women and trying to figure out how to deal with that, and just growing up feeling like an outsider, and the drugs just progressed, and I had to do drugs to be around people and come out of my shell, and that just became this cycle of destruction for me, and that carried on all the way until I was 31 years old, trying to get sober multiple times in rehabs, losing my apartment, my car, my jobs. Like I always had a good work ethic, and it wasn't until about 2015 when I got introduced to crystal meth, the worst drug in the entire world. I mean, they're all bad, but this drug really is like the devil's drug. And I just lost everything multiple times. And I had to go to a sober living facility in Maine. I lived in Portland for 8 months, and I got some sober time there. That was the most I had ever had up until that point. But then I moved home and relapsed, and that led me up until I went on a run until I was 31 years old, which is when I finally got sober almost 6 years ago. Today, it's just a miracle that I'm even here, Joel. I used to literally lock myself in my room, padlock the door. I would block the windows out with plywood and sheets and blankets because I was so paranoid, and I was just on a path of destruction. I overdosed, was on a breathing tube, all this stuff. And I never thought I'd be able to break free from that. So it feels amazing to be here today. I'm grateful to God. I thank God every day that I'm here. I'm slowly discovering more and more about who I am, because like as a drug addict, you're never allowing yourself to discover those things. And I'm just so grateful today to be able to be learning who I am without drugs.
Nick, that's a courageous story, very courageous, and it's appreciated. What we have is we have a man here that is a very brave man and courageous man to be able to talk about what his dealings are in life, and to step it up like that takes somebody that's a very strong person in more than one way, and that should inspire a lot of people out there. We have this opportunity to have this man on the show, and that's what podcasting is so great today, because it's so informative and it can inspire so many people. Fortunately, we've had a little bit of technical difficulty. We may have lost a little bit in the middle there of what Nick Rossi was speaking about, but we did catch the audio. But I will make sure that we do this in maybe a 2-part podcast. That's what I'm thinking of now, to edit this out. Anybody live, you are catching everything here, and we are. I'm looking at the time. We have 7 minutes left till the production, so to speak, is going to boot us off the air here. So Nick Rossi, in that 7 minutes, I'd like to fire 5 names at you. I want one word, or very quick one statement to describe these people that have come past in your path, in your journey, in the great life of stand-up comedy. And I'm sure stand-up comedy has helped you to be able to put your life back together. And a lot of people got to realize stand-up comedy helps a lot of us. Most, if not all, stand-up comedians battle some kind of obstacle in life. I'll leave it at that. The first name, and dealing the names tonight with our special guest, Nick Rossi, stand-up comedian, sober for 5 years plus, a sobriety speaker who wants to give it back and tell people and inspire people about how they can become sober like that man there, Nick Rossi, has. Here we go. The 5 names, brother man. The first name, Danny Peters.
Danny Peters. Danny Peters. Haven't seen him in a while. I hope he's well. Funny kid and good jokes. Different. Danny's different, and I like that.
Right on. The next name on the Deal in the Names on Wrestling with Comedy live tonight with Nick Rossi. The next name is Lloyd Legacy Sharp.
A legacy that can't be beat. Keep
Very
going,
good.
Lloyd.
There you go. The next name on the list for Nick Rossi tonight on Wrestling with Comedy, he's giving the expertise and his opinion, is Gigi Fall.
GG! Oh man, Gigi's the one I look at in the audience and sing to when I do my musical Josh Groban bit. So Gigi's hilarious. I feel close to her because she hosted the Halloween show that you booked us on. So love Gigi.
Right on, brother. The next name, number 4 of number 5, Deal in the Names tonight on Wrestling with Comedy. I am your host, the Real Deal Joel Davis, also known as Comedian Joel Davis. If you haven't hit subscribe yet on the channel, please consider to. It means a lot to all of us and keeps our YouTube lives going with subscriptions going up. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe tonight. We really appreciate it. And also, Nick and I do appreciate if you could hit like on this special podcast exclusive. Nick Rossi speaks for the first time on this podcast, Wrestling with Comedy. The last name, Deal in the Names, is, actually no, this is the 4th name, Mr. V.
Mr. V.
He played the werewolf.
Had a good time with him. I appreciate his zeal and commitment to character.
Right on. And the last name in the 5, Deal in the Names, Julie Wesna.
Julie! Oh, man, Julie is, I feel she got a special place in my heart. She's one of the first people I started doing comedy with a year ago. So I love Julie. Yeah, I'll always look back and just see the beginning of this journey with, like, her and a few other people in that improv class. So.
Right on, Nick. And I know you're going to have a bright future, brother. And I can tell you now, and I'll tell you right on air, I am also a promoter in stand-up comedy, like you know, and I'm sure the viewers and listeners know. I do promote a promotion called Keeping It Real Comedy. And we are looking at 2 different new venues for the year of 2026. There's been so much going on. We're looking forward to bringing some more live stand-up comedy with our DJ from South Florida, DJ Robbie Fresh will be back with other comedians such as yourself. And, Mr. V will be back, of course. Julie Wesna, Gigi Fall, Paul Kwasowski. The list goes on of comedians that we're going to be bringing in. From New York City, we're looking to bring in Brian Stoops. Back from Los Angeles, Cameron Dewan. From L.A., New York comedian. And New Jersey comedians, Ralph Duran and Eldon Gashi. But Nick Rossi will be a part of that. And he's going to be coming back. Nick Rossi, what a pleasure to have you here tonight on the podcast, Wrestling with Comedy. Before we go and say goodnight to all our great listeners and viewers, I'm going to start a statement, and I want you to end it, okay? And here it is. In stand-up comedy, what really helped me
was being myself and listening to my artistic voice.
Excellent, excellent. This is what I love about the podcasting. I've really started to get to know you in the last couple weeks, even more so, getting ready for the podcast. Nick, don't you ever change, brother. Don't ever look back. You got this. And anybody like you that can, go in the gymnasium, work out in the evening and hold down the job and hold down the apartment and hold down some true friends, keep your word, and travel to do these stand-up comedy gigs for little or no money. I do appreciate what you had said earlier about me giving you that first opportunity, and I'm glad I did. I didn't know your whole story, brother, but it's all relevant to me because at the end of the day, nobody's better than anybody. Everybody's equal. You get that straight,
Right.
people. That's from the Real Deal Joel Davis. Everyone is equal, including this man right here. As a matter of fact, I think you've inspired a lot of people tonight, Nick Rossi. I want to thank you, and for everyone, God bless you all, and remember, at all costs, keep it real. Thank you, Nick Rossi. Good night, everyone.